hello there, good evening and welcome. It's so great to be back with you here on your Superstation Joy 99.7 FM. My name is Animwaa Anim-Addo and this is Strong and Sassy. So as you know, we declared September as our Health and Wellness Month, and last week we talked about, your journey to wellness and wholeness and taking care of yourself. And this week we wanted to do something a little bit different and a little bit special. So September is also Leukemia Awareness Month. And we thought, maybe we should have a conversation about that and what that looks like for those who've gone through it and how we can also support and pay it forward and also give back. So that's what we're doing tonight. Tonight we're going to hear an incredible story of strength and overcoming, and then we're going to hear how you can make a difference as well. So that's what we're doing tonight. Once again, you're warmly welcome. We're live on Facebook, so you can watch us there if you want to have the visuals of the conversation. Our phone lines will be open a little later on if you want to call in and ask questions. Our text lines are open from the get-go. If you have a story, I would love to hear it. You can text and share your story with us as well. If you have a family member who has survived leukemia, if you yourself have gone through it, we would love for you to be part of this conversation. Our text lines 055 1111 997 055 997. And tonight we're breaking protocol. I don't remember the last time we had a man on the show. I'm sure it's been like 3 years or maybe even 4, but sometimes when something really important comes up, we go outside of what we normally do, because this is really important. So if you hear a male voice on Strong and Sassy tonight, just know that it means we are very serious tonight. But let me introduce my guests. So I have Elizabeth. Elizabeth is also called Araba. So I assume her friends like to call her Arabeth because of the combination of names. It's her first time here, and she has an incredible story that she's going to share with us. Elizabeth, thank you and welcome. Thank you. And then we have the male voice on Strong and Sassy. We have Jared Boache, who is the president of the Leukemia Project Foundation, and he will be sharing a lot about the foundation and the work that it does and how we can support and help. Hi Jared, thank you so much for joining.
Hi Animwaa, thank you very much.
A male voice on Strong and Sassy.
But I'm a fan of Strong and
yes,
Sassy.
I know that. I know that.
I'm mommy's boy and grandmommy's boy, so anything to do.
Well, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for being here. So Elizabeth, let me start with you. Let's talk about your journey with leukemia. It's your journey indirectly, sort of, but just tell us a bit about all of it.
Okay, so I think my first time hearing leukemia, I had heard leukemia from I think Daniel, but I didn't really know what it was. So anytime somebody mentions leukemia, I'll just say, okay, it's leukemia, it's cancer, and then we just brush it off and then we just go on. But I think my very first encounter with leukemia was my late son, Jason. Mm-hmm. And I remember it just started off as a bump on the buttocks. And then we started investigating. We went to investigate. They said it was a hemangioma. We went on. If it's a hemangioma, then we don't really have to do anymore. We just have to wait it out. So fast forward 3 months down the line, he starts to develop all those bumps on the face, in the scalp. And then we get alarmed. And then I think he was unable to breathe. Very, very difficult to breathe. So I think we're in Cape Coast then. So immediately I noticed those signs. I called the pediatrician here in Accra. And then we brought him to Accra. And the very first time we walked through the pediatrician's door, and then she set her eyes on him, she just screamed, "Hey, my boy has changed."
Okay, so she knew him.
She knew him from birth, yes.
Okay.
Yes, she handled me the moment I gave birth to Jason, throughout all the immunization, pediatrician visits, everything. She did all of them.
Okay.
So she knew him. She knew Jason very well. Okay. So I think we only missed about 2 months worth of hospital visits, and then she saw him, and then Jason had lost. Yes, he had lost half of his body weight, and he had all these bumps on the face, on him, in the scalp. So she was also alarmed.
How old was he at that time?
He was 1 year, 3 months.
Okay.
He was about 15, 16 months.
Okay.
And so that was the beginning of our journey. Even then, we didn't even know what it was. So we had to go through a series of testing, scans. The hospital couldn't figure it out until one doctor in 37 said, let's take a biopsy from the first site, which was on the buttocks. We did. We took it to the pathologist, and then it came out. Even when it came out as a non-Hodgkin lymphoma.
Okay.
And we got referred to Kolebu. So again, even though I had heard what leukemia was, I knew what it was, but I never for the life of me imagined that a child could actually get leukemia. So that was the first shocker for me.
Yeah.
And when we're told we're going to go to Kolebu, we went just like a layperson. We are going to get treatment.
Okay.
So imagine the shock when I actually entered the ward and I realized that it wasn't only my son. The entire ward was full. So that was when the reality dawned on me that, it is leukemia. Children also get leukemia.
Leukemia, yeah.
So that was my very first encounter and how the beginning of my journey started.
Okay. Are you okay to talk about feelings? I mean, concerning, finding out, dealing with it.
So I laugh a lot. Anytime anybody asks me how I feel, I don't think I actually have the words for it. But I was quite indifferent.
Okay.
The only thing I wanted to know was it treatable? Is it can it be treated in Ghana? Those were the two things that was very paramount. So I remember asking the doctors, can we do this here in Ghana? And then they said yes. It's one of the cancers that is very treatable, so we can do it. They can handle it here in Ghana. So the moment we did the final testing and then the actual diagnosis came out that it was acute lymphoblastic leukemia.
Which is quite different from the non-Hodgkin's lymphoma.
Yes. Okay. All of them are blood disorders, but the names, they differ, and then they will tell you exactly what.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. So he had acute lymphoblastic leukemia. And so I remember I told myself that he was still a child. Probably he wouldn't remember when he's 3-4 years, because the treatment goes on and on, about 3 years before you are done for boys, and then 2.5 years for girls. So I remember telling myself that in 3 years' time, he's not going to remember all the hell that he's been through. Yeah. So I just shut my mind, shut everything off.
And it was just, let's get through this.
Let's get through this.
Let's get him to survive.
Let's push through until he gets what he needs. So I will go to hospital. When he has to get cannula, I will hold him down. You wouldn't see me crying. You wouldn't see me fretting. You wouldn't see me. But I would ask 1,001 questions because I will keep researching. So I don't think I allowed my feelings to really lead me.
Yeah.
I just became very indifferent and then decided to work with whatever information I had.
You were being given.
Yes, because it wasn't like I was given two things to choose from. That was the only choice on the table. So it was either that or that. So
there was really nothing. Did you have to do it alone?
No.
Okay.
I didn't have to do it alone. I had support from friends, from family, his wonderful father. I had a whole village. I had a whole village on Facebook, on Instagram, people I had never had an encounter with. So I didn't have to do it alone.
Okay.
The mothers on the ward, we look out for each other. No, I never had to do it alone.
Well, that's good. So sometimes you hear the stories and people didn't have anyone. And I can imagine what that must have been like, because I'm sure it was exhausting, right?
It is very exhausting. Trust me when I say it is exhausting. But I choose to say I didn't walk the journey alone, because my son was not the only person that was afflicted. We had other mothers who didn't even know anything about cancer. I would say I was one of the privileged few who understood what cancer was, who could actually research, understand this is cancer, this is what it does to a human body. So I was fortunate. Other parents weren't. But I choose to say I didn't walk the journey alone because of the people I met when I was walking the process. Yes. Right. And I never felt alone. We were always there for each other. On the ward, when we're doing labs. It's not a journey that you actually do alone. It's a whole community of mothers, of parents, of caregivers So you don't need to work together because
you're not alone.
You're not alone
Regardless.
regardless.
So what was the treatment like?
The treatment, I wouldn't know how to describe it, but it's intense, extremely intense. Elsewhere, you go to hospital, they tell you have cancer. They put in a pot or you get a Hickman line or a PICC line. It's not like that in Ghana.
Okay.
Ghana, we like to do the cannulation. We put in the cannula and then you receive your medication. We take the cannula out. And so imagine a 1-year-old who does not understand that I have to get cannula every single time. Jason will put the teeth on the cannula and rip it out. That was what he used to do. So the treatment itself is intense. The process that they have to go through before they actually get the treatment itself is insane.
Yeah.
It's just, the whole process is just insane.
I mean, with the background
intense.
that you were always asking questions, were you able to find out why they were not looking at a more permanent or more semi-permanent line, like a port, or why did it have to be a cannula? I'm assuming every few days or every week.
Every few days, sometimes few hours.
So it's in and out.
In and out because the kids, some of them will rip it out. Jason, like for instance, will take the cannula out, and you will struggle find the vein. He will still take it out because he doesn't know why.
And it's painful.
Exactly. So he kept ripping the cannulas out. But the one thing I got to understand as I walked the journey was the Hickman lines and all the other options go straight into the heart. And we don't have a sterile environment here in Ghana. A lot of our facilities is not as sterile as we would want. So we cannot risk going in for those central lines. Yes, they are called central lines. We cannot risk getting a central line when we cannot take care of it properly, and then we end up getting infection. Already the basket on our head has too many issues, and we are going to add
infections and sterility and all
exactly.
of that.
So I think that is one of the reasons why they don't.
It's unfortunate though, because it puts the children through a lot.
Exactly.
Wow. So every few hours, every few days. So you basically lived in the hospital.
Oh yes. When you have to do treatment, you are a tenant in Kollywood or wherever you find yourself. So when you start the treatment, you are a tenant for about a month and a half to it could go on up to 3 months. But if your body accepts the treatment, I think within 4 weeks you should stabilize and then start coming in at the daycare. So you move from the main ward, then you come to the daycare, and then you start the whole process. You start walking your journey through cancer.
So the thing with childhood cancer is that when our children are sick, we are unable to do anything else. So work stops, life stops, everything stops. It's not like an adult where you can feel like, I'm going to leave you for a few hours and go and come. So how did this affect your ability? The first was you were not functioning outside of the hospital. But okay, so let's talk about how did you
balance it all.
Work, and then obviously when the issue of work comes in, then there's the issue of finances and support and paying for treatment.
Yeah. So I think when I went to Cape Coast to go and get him, because that was we had just come out from lockdown. And everything was just chaotic. Everybody was trying to find their fortune. So I remember I dropped him off in Cape Coast, went back to go get him. So I just told my office that, I'm going to Cape Coast to check on my son and I'll be back. And that was it. I never went back.
You didn't go back?
No. I never went back. I didn't send any letter or anything. All I had to do was call the HR and tell her, this is what I find myself in.
Wow.
And I don't know how it's going to go. I thought it was just in and out, but I never for the life of me imagined
it was going to be
exactly. And so I called her and I said, this is what I find myself in. I don't know what I'm going to do. And then I remember she says, Elizabeth, take all the time you need. Take all the time you need. You can't add work to this. No, take all the time you need. I said, thank you, Mom. And then that was it. That was it.
So you packed bag and baggage and moved into the hospital.
Back. I carried my whole house to
you carried
my entire house because
what's that like? I mean, some of us have never experienced that. So when somebody says, I was living in Kolebu for 4 to like, run me through a regular day. Where do you sleep? How do you shower? Where do you? I mean, was there a bed? Or were you sharing a bed with Jason? Were you holding him? What was it like?
Jason was 1 year, so he didn't get a bed. He got a cot.
Okay.
So there was no way I could have shared the bed with him.
Well, then you couldn't get into the cot, obviously.
Oh yeah, sometimes I managed to find my way inside the cot because Jason was very clingy. When he needs to settle down, he needs that physical touch before he was
in pain.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So Kolebu. That's why I had my treatments actually. So my first day in Kolebu on the ward, that was the first kicker. I got there and I'm asking for a private ward.
Right, and like a room, a private.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. That's interesting.
I remember I went to the OPD because my pediatrician had told me that you can get a private ward, you can get a side ward. So I came
with the expectation
exactly side ward, the private room. So I went to the ward and then they give me my cots and I'm looking around. I'm like, So I kept asking, is there a private room? And then the nurses looked at me like, are you serious? There is no private. Nothing like private. Even the room we have here, we are struggling to
space.
So there isn't any private room. So that was when it dawned on me that this is my actual situation. There was no bed for me. There was nothing. It's just I'll call it a bare land. Each man for himself. You get your bed. You on your own until the nurses and the doctors come to check on your child. So that was life in Kolebu. We have mattresses when it's around. You can't sleep before 8 o'clock because the nurses will be changing over, and you can go to bed around 10. The cleaners will come in at 4 o'clock, and you have to wake up, bundle your mattresses up, put it back. So you never actually get enough rest. And because your child is constantly asking you for things because they are in pain, you don't sleep. You are on high alert because anything can happen. So I don't think I had a full night's rest, but it was luxurious because you could sit in a chair the whole day. Your child is in the cot. You cannot leave your child there.
No, you can't.
So you sit in a chair like so, and you find a neck rest or anything that makes you comfortable, or you lean against the wall and then you just doze off a little bit. So during the day when the doctors have come to for their ward rounds and all that, that's when you actually get some peace to relax. Or when your child is sleeping, that's when you actually get the peace to relax. But bed, no, I don't think you have the luxury of getting a space.
Was there some sort of privacy? So they're like curtains and
nothing like
everybody
that.
can see everybody.
Like I said, it's between you and your God. Each man for himself. It's a bare land. Find your space and make do.
And so I mean, for the children, what was their life? What was their life like? I mean, so they wake up in the morning. Is there? Okay, I know Jason was quite young, so there's no maybe teaching or singing of nursery rhymes or whatever. But is there an attempt to sort of normalize their day-to-day, or was the pain just so overwhelming that you really can't do anything?
So what is pain? First off, we all react to pain differently. Jason didn't have the same reaction like all the other children. He handled his stuff quite differently. So when he's done crying, when you put in the cannula, he will cry, he'll make a fuss, but once he's done and he's settled down, he's okay. So when we wake up in the morning, the same routine: brush his teeth, bath him in the bed, clean his cot, clean your surroundings, make sure everything is intact, wait for the doctors to come in, assess him, and then we start with our cartoons. So he had this small TV. He has his own TV that we prop against one of the poles, and then he watches that. So that was what kept the kids entertained. We had screens all around the ward that played cartoons
for them.
Yes, and we had teachers coming to the ward to engage the children and to do a little activity, 1-2 activities with them to keep them entertained. But I wouldn't be able to tell or say that this child or that child didn't know what they were going through. Jason knew exactly what he was going through because he didn't know any other life apart from the hospital life. So to him, life was the hospital life. That was the only life he knew. So that's just it.
I can imagine. I mean, so parents are in there with their children and, just trying to have this semblance of normalcy. but at the back of your mind, it's like, this is not malaria. This is not headache. This is not running stomach. This is cancer, and I could lose my child. What was that like? Having those kind of thoughts, and I mean, I'm sure the other moms, maybe you guys would have conversations and stuff.
Yes. The one thing the mothers never do is to focus on the negatives. We were always so positive. We kept encouraging each other. There was no mention of this child is going to die, that child. We don't entertain it in that space. The only thing we kept doing was we band together, we pray together, look out for each other, and keep speaking positive into our lives, into the lives of our children. So there wasn't ever a time that we stopped to even think that our children, we could lose our kids. We're ever so positive. That was it for us. It wasn't any other thing. It was positive or positive. This child is surviving. So we must do whatever we need to do to get this child out of this space. That was it for us. Until something else happens and you are told something. But once you haven't been given the slightest idea that this can happen, no, there isn't. We wouldn't entertain that.
So the doctors also try to be as positive as possible.
The doctors are the most positive creatures I have ever come across. Because had it not been for their strength, their positivity, a lot of us would have given up. Because they keep encouraging you. They understand the blood work, they understand the labs. So they would keep encouraging you that do this, don't give up, do it. We've seen other kids pass through this and they've come out of it. So keep at it, it will come out. So for me, I told the doctor that took care of us, I remember telling her that, let me know when it is time to stop. Until then, I do not want to stop. And she said, okay, I've got you. And that was exactly what she did. There was no mention of is it going to work? It's going to work. That was the only mentality. It's going to work. From Ghana, it's going to work. From India, it's going to work. From Singapore, it's going to work. Until one day she called me and said, Araba, it's time to stop.
What was that like?
Jason wasn't a typical child. I mean, he died quite a number of times, if I dare say so. And in India, I remember he coded more than, I think, 3-4 times. And when they write him off by some divine intervention, he would just sit up. And then the doctors begin to confuse themselves and ask themselves questions, what is happening with this boy? And then he's just up and about doing his business. It was always like that with Jason. And we did bone marrow transplant at a point in his treatment. And we came back to Ghana, everything was looking good. We never imagined the cancer would find a way to come back. We went to bed, woke up, he was eating, he says, Mommy, my stomach is hurting. The cancer is back. That was how it happened.
Just like that? Just like that.
And so we went back to Singapore to put him on a clinical trial. And we're at it, we're fighting, looking for every medication that was left on earth to give to Jason to make sure he survives. And I remember I was asked to put down a deposit for another bone marrow transplant. So I did a campaign on social media trying to mobilize the funds. And so I go into the hospital and then they tell me that, the billing team will come and see you. I wait, they don't show up. Then I see a horde of doctors and nurses so the moment I saw them, I realized that something else is happening. So they called me, Elizabeth, can we have a word with you? That's when I knew that something else is going on. So they sit me down, about 18 people in a room like this. And I'm the only black woman sitting there. And she sits quietly and she says, do I know that there comes a point in everybody's life where we have to let go? And do I know that sometimes as parents, as human beings, we're made to be selfish? And I said, why is she speaking like that? And she says, yes, we are all selfish. But am I doing this, prolonging his treatment, because I am scared of the pain I would feel? Or I am scared of losing him? Have I ever for a minute paused to think what Jason might be going through? And that whatever that he's going through, is he worth it? And after telling me that, I said, okay, so what is it? And she says, there isn't any more medication that they can find to save him, because his cancer is so rare that they don't know what else to do. So they've had to take a vote, and it's not in our favor. They think another child on the ward would benefit from the clinical trial, because Jason is simply not responding. And so I need to make the call to stop the treatment. So the funny thing is, they are telling you that there isn't any other option left, but they cannot make the call for you.
Yeah.
You have to make that call yourself. They will lay all the options before you and tell you that it's simply not working. But if you tell them to go on, they'll still go on. But to what end? So that was the option I was given.
How did you make the decision?
I called the doctor and I told her, is it time?
Okay, so you called that other
yes.
woman.
Because I told the doctors to tell her everything about Jason. Whatever is happening, whatever treatment, all the things they did, they should let her know. So she knew before they even spoke to me.
Okay.
So I called her, and then she says, Araba, it's time. That's what she said. And I said, okay. I didn't argue with anybody. I said, okay. And I went back to the ward. He was in the bed. I still have a picture of him lying in the bed. I just sat at the foot of the bed and I held his leg and I said, okay. And it's something I've been telling myself since then. It's okay. What can I do?
Yeah. How many years was that from when it started?
Jason was diagnosed in 2021 January. The first relapse happened in 2022 and we went to India 2022 December. 2023 March 19th he did a bone marrow transplant. It was successful. We did all that we had to do and then we came back to Ghana 1st May. We continued with the treatment and then the cancer came back again in November of 2023. And we went to Singapore to continue the treatment December of that 2023, and then February 7th was when we were told that there wasn't anything that could be done. So 2021 to 2024, yes, and he died on the 1st of April 2024. So I think about 4 years.
About 4 years. Wow. That's a tough one.
It is.
That's a tough one. And I'm really sorry for your loss. I can't even, begin to imagine what that must have been like. If you're just tuning in, this is Strong and Sassy, and we're having a conversation about leukemia. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll be talking about how you can help. I'm sure, you've heard Elizabeth and Jason's stories a lot. Lots of days in Kolibu, a lot of treatment, having to travel, bone marrow transplants. It's crazy, and I feel like we owe it, to give back and to help. So when we come back, we'll have a conversation about that. Don't go anywhere.
Joy 99.7 FM.
FPAC is effective for headaches and relieves the symptoms of flu, colds, and catarrh. FPAC blows away the pain associated with sore throats. During and after a hard day's work, FPAC relieves you of body pains. After the day's sports workout, FPAC helps the body to control the aching muscles. FPAC is effective against feverishness. FPAC reduces body temperature associated with malaria and other fevers. FPAC is effective against rheumatic pains. You can find FPAC in all pharmacy and chemical select shops throughout the country. FPAC is not recommended for children less than 16 years of age, ulcer and asthmatic patients, pregnant and lactating mothers. If symptoms persist for more than 2 days, consult your doctor. FPAC blows your pain away.
FPAC Junior follows in the tradition of FPAC tablets, a trusted friend to relieve your child of pain associated with teething, catarrh, cold, and fever. The good that FPAC does for you, FPAC Junior does for your child. FPAC Junior is for children between 6 months and 12 years. FPAC Junior blows your child's pain away.
It's over us.
Attention Koforidua, something extraordinary is about to hit the heart of the capital city of the Eastern region. The Leukemia Project is coming. From the open streets to the busy offices, from classrooms to corridors of government departments and agencies, from markets to hospitals, ghettos, schools and colleges. The Full Gospel Businessmen's Fellowship International, the largest Christian businessmen's organization in the world, is invading every space of Koforidua with hope, with purpose and the unstoppable message of life in Christ. Whether you are a student, a trader, a civil servant, a teacher, a nurse, doctor or CEO, God is calling you right where you are. There will be outreaches to schools, colleges and universities, market, taxi ranks and trotro stations, as well as the ghettos of Koforidua. Prepare for an electrifying rally at Koforidua Nat Hall on Thursday 11 September. The time is 6 p.m. Get ready for the big one, an open air crusade live at Jackson Park. Date Friday 12 September. Time 6 p.m. prompt. Lives will be touched, you will be set free, purpose will be ignited. Koforidua, this is not just an event, it's a movement.
Get ready for a night of worship and celebration this September 21st, 2025. All roads lead to the National Theatre for Bernard Amankwa's celebration of His Grace concert under the theme Thou Art Loosed, featuring an all-star lineup of anointed ministers: Reverend Thomas Yorson, Dave the Music Box, Gina Bankram, Roderick Ejekum, La Famille, Empraise, and Presence Band. It's more than an encounter. Experience the freedom we adore as chains are broken and hearts are set free. And the best part, admission is absolutely free. With gratitude to our proud sponsors InnoLink, Rayroy, New Professionals, Innovate, Specialize, Fomi Ghana, and Controlite. Time is 6 p.m. sharp. Media partners: Joy FM, Adum FM, Senpai FM, Hits FM, Adum TV, Joy Prime, My Joy Online. Call 0554 074 766. Mark your calendars for September 21st and come prepared to worship and celebrate. See you there.
KB, yo. Hey, KB, aka Kubeboga, now drives a Bugatti. He can even travel by road from Accra to London. Oh, wow. KB's source of wealth is agriculture. Yes, coconut business. After losing his bank job, he started supplying coconuts at events. Now, he owns large coconut plantations and employs many young people. Charlie, we all need to trust the process, cause hope day.
There has never been a better time to enter into agribusiness. Take a bold step today with the Ghana Grows program, because every step pays. Ejuma Wokrom, Ghana Grows, Hope Day, an initiative of the MasterCard Foundation in partnership with Springboard Roadshow Foundation and Limehouse.
After 9 electrifying seasons, Big Brother Naija is back for season 10 with 10 times the drama, 10 times the rivalry, 10 times the game. This is certified. No zero, no minus. Stream every twist and turn on Showmax. Binge all the action, every surprise, anytime, anywhere. Sign up now at Showmax.com. Your front row seats to Big Brother Naija season 10. Showmax, streaming for Ghana.
We lead, others follow. This is Joy 99.7 FM.
Back. This is Strong and Sassy. If you're just joining, maybe go onto Facebook and do the rewind and start from the beginning, because you can't join at this point, really, is what I'm saying. You definitely want to start from the beginning. I have Elizabeth and Gerard with me in the studio, and we're talking about childhood cancer. We're talking about leukemia, and what it's like. So I've been speaking to Elizabeth, and Elizabeth has shared her story with us, about her son Jason and everything he went through and she went through, in the journey. And I know that if you're listening, you want to, know how it all ended, and maybe we might do that. But tonight is also just really about support. It's about the process that parents go through, the process that people go through. And I'm sure, when you listen to us, you've heard us talk about breast cancer, prostate cancer, how expensive it is, the logistics involved, and what it's like when you can't afford, to give the person that you love the best care, and you just have to, give up, so we want to talk about the Leukemia Project Foundation and how it all ties in. So Jared is going to do that for us. But Jared, how did you get involved in all of in all of this? Because this is not what I know you for.
Yeah, I'm sure you know me for wildlife. Or
yes, I know you for other
all
things.
These other things.
Yeah, but not
polo.
this. So.
Yeah, he mentioned Danny White, and at this point, I'd just like to pay tribute to all those friends close to me who lost their lives to leukemia. So Danny is one. Philip was my buddy. He was an IT guy who used to help me a lot at work.
Okay.
And then he comes in. Each time he comes in, he's not well. I used to tease him, "Are we going to do a test?" And in the mines, we do all sorts of tests. And Philip, I said, "How about HIV/AIDS?" And he would laugh, "Oh, boss, I can show you my results." And then one day, just out of nowhere, I said, "You may have to let them check your full blood count and everything." Then he comes back and is like, "They say my blood cells are funny." Even funny. Then eventually, from Kolebu, we got the results, and it was leukemia.
Okay.
And unfortunately, Philip was a junior staff, so the healthcare program did not, he would not be treated abroad.
Okay.
But when I came to understand, there was another guy, Aaron, who was suffering from the same thing, DSTV, multi-choice.
Okay.
He passed as well. So when I came to understand it, I was like, no, with diseases, your class shouldn't matter, and particularly cancer, it shouldn't matter. So I had to push. I pushed. And my bosses were like, "He's a union member. The union should take care of him." And I wouldn't listen. And then, I'm sure you know the company, but I wouldn't want to. But eventually they came through. And they got Philip to South Africa. They got him a match. They got the mother to go as well. And myself and my friends were very happy, very, very happy. And then they went through the process. And that morning, Philip called me and said, "Boss, I'm going into the theater." And it's not even like a theater where they're opening up. It's like a laboratory.
Okay.
And said everything is set. My brother's match was okay, and we're going. I said, great. So quickly, it was a Saturday morning. We'd finished playing golf, and I was happy to celebrate. So we sat at Villa Monticello, and then I got a call, and the voice was a South African accent. And is that Mr. Jedad? I said, yes. And I was beginning to celebrate. Said, we have your name here as, I said, yeah. Unfortunately, we lost Philip. I said, you? I said, you're kidding.
Yeah.
I just spoke to him. So we lost him. What happened? He sneezed. And it's a clinical environment, very sterile environment. He sneezed, caught a cold. And they couldn't continue the process. And basically, he ran down and passed. So after that, there were a number of people, and then I decided that, look, people need a voice. We need to push, right? So Leukemia Project Foundation was founded by a survivor and two doctors, Dr. Yvonne Day Adomako and Ivy Ikem. And initially I suspect that it was to provide care and support because they saw the patients and they saw how, contrary to what, it's true, they will give you positive, but if you are a supporter of a victim, they will sit down with you and show you the signs. They won't tell them others. But for us who would spend money and time, they will tell us much earlier in the process than the mother.
Yeah.
Because they need the mothers to be strong to go through, right? Yeah. But I remember I was told several times when we're supporting baby NS and all, said, Gerard, look, this is what is going to happen. They're going to feel well. They're going to feel okay. They're going to hope to go home. But the least thing that happens, they'll go back to where they came from. because the blood cells are just behaving abnormally, and that's what supports us, healthy human beings. So I got involved with them, and we're trying to provide care. But then these doctors are hematologists who research, and they will discuss a whole lot of issues with you. And then at a point in time, Leukemia Project Foundation was doing all that, and we had a lot of support. But I got to a time that we realized that there were so many people waiting to find matches, waiting to raise funds, and then waiting to travel abroad for a slightly better treatment than just maintenance. In the mines, we have something called care and maintenance, and that was all what was happening to these patients. But then we changed direction and said, okay, if we could bring that process here, that technology here, there would be more research. I mean, I speak to some young doctors who don't even want to do hematology because the survival rates were bad, very demoralizing. So there wasn't much in the area of research, unless individual private researchers. So quickly, fast forward, we then agree that we need to bring that technology and we need to start. But then also looking at other parts of the world where these things happens, we cannot have a standalone sort of unit. It happens in a big hospital where you have the support of all the other units. So that was another challenge. So we had to start talking to other units, other hospitals, other big hospitals, and then finally. So it's been a long time. Today I saw a document where 2005, where we thought we were almost getting close, and then we dropped it again, and because the hospital that wanted to partner with us was not interested, they were thinking about who's going to handle the hospital, how are we going to sustain this, but there's no cost that I personally think would be more than just having a home, because see, by the time you get the money, you have very little time. You might lose it. Luckily Jason even went through one bone marrow transplant, and that's the nature of a thing. It can reoccur. People come out of remission. So if it's a home where you have all the other support, the emotional and the psychological support, it's half of the work done. Then doctors can concentrate on the research, how to, because we still don't know what causes it. We still don't know how to prevent it. Early testing, what is you catch it early, and even that one you'll be lucky to, depending on the type of leukemia, you may or may not go through the process. So basically, Leukemia Project Foundation is basically set out to provide this. And last year, Kolebu came through, dedicated an area in Kolebu for the clinic to set up, to be established. We've met with project managers, medical supplies team, and we've got the drawings, we've got the costings, we've got whatever it takes. Then now we have to sort of re-establish the awareness, the contacts, all the people that used to support us. Now we've come to them with a different story, and that's why you had us at the Polo Club with engaging with high network and high net worth individuals who, some of them may not give you money, but will have the contacts. I remember in South Africa we have somebody who said, I used to work with the UN, and straight away he went to one of the agencies, and then they started looking at it. You would think that the WHO would have a plan for that, but it's so basically that's what we're about. And then we thought that this leukemia month would drum home that awareness, raise that support, and you see, because it's a hematology center, it will be a hematology center. Other cancers will benefit, other blood disorders would benefit. It's close to the sickle cell unit. Sickle cell is also a blood disorder, and there will be that collaboration among researchers and specialists. If we establish it well, if we get the right support, it would come. It won't be. I remember currently Dr. Yakubu says it may not be. I quote him, and he said it may not be the final solution, but it will be more than half of the solution. Which is. And giving hope is number one, is very important. So if Elizabeth Arrow goes and knows that, or other mothers there know that, oh, definitely something will come through for me. I don't have to spend time raising the money, at the same time spend time trying to keep him comfortable, spend time trying to talk to doctors. I mean, with the center here, half of all that will be dealt with, you know, by psychologists and counselors and all that. Yeah.
You know. So I'm just curious, how did you and Elizabeth, how did your paths cross?
So, as I said, whilst we're thinking and trying to raise funds and contacts and establish contacts to set up a unit, when people hear your name, Leukemia Project Foundation, and they have leukemia or they've been diagnosed with leukemia, and they come to you, and you can't tell them any better story than we're set. I mean, how can you tell them we're trying to set up a clinic?
Yeah, but in the meantime, like
in human, yeah. So we our founder actually brought Jason's case to us and said, Gerard, we need to try and raise funds. I know we've changed the policy, but just one last time. And I said, and she had made me the president, so I was like, it's so difficult. I pity all those past presidents, national presidents, because the decisions you have to take against policies.
Because if you say no, then you're saying, I'm not going to help.
You're not going to help.
To do this
and
alone.
This is a human being. This is life.
A child.
So we said, we'll help. But the other thing, I had to be creative. The other thing we can do is that we would use our accounts for people to donate into, because again, when people hear your story, they think, yes, you're just trying to. It's not luxury treatment at all. That's another thing we want to stop. Going abroad for the treatment is not luxury. It's a need. But when we bring that here,
then it looks like you're
you know, so that's our part. And I never met her till today.
Are you serious?
No, it was on social media and verifying. Wow. I never met her. I spoke to her. She was like, Gerard, I don't. And she didn't even. Well, she knew she was a beneficiary of LPF, but she thought it was another group trying to get her to speak. I said, we are LPF. I said, I'm LPF. I'm the president. He said, oh wow. Then stop talking. Fine, stop talking.
Yeah, she sends me the message and says it's all sorted now.
Yeah. So I never. And that's the thing. That's what happens to us. You help with the hope. You don't have to know the person, because I said here on this station that leukemia and other cancers, they're nobody's friend. 2 years ago, my auntie died of leukemia. There was no help. She was already old, and it's not that doctors are cruel, but if you're old, if you're 80, and they'll rather spend time on
resources are limited, time is limited. So I've gotten a number of text messages from our listeners who are not happy for us to end the show like this.
Do it again.
So I think yes, I don't. I mean, we'll talk about it, and then maybe I feel like we should continue next week, because there's a number of people want to know, and also a number of people have texted they have it, their children are going through it, and so I can't promise yet, because I have to have the conversation, but I think we might have to do that.
But I need to thank Joy FM. I mean, you're not signing off. I'm not signing off for you. But Joy FM has been very supportive right from the beginning. I'm a communication person, so I know how much it costs. Communication costs, and even you from nowhere, you just said, let's do it.
This is important. This is So thank you too. We'll put out the details. Everything will be on social media. We'll put out the flyers if you want to support and participate. And all of that, but I think we'll be back next week with this, because we're not really done. So thank you so much for staying tuned in. Follow our pages. We'll put out the information. Follow my page. I'll put out the information as well. My name's Animwaa Anim-Addo. Thank you, Elizabeth, for sharing this story with us. Thank you, Gerard.
You have to be strong.
Yeah, I know, right? Thank you to the Leukemia Project Foundation. We'll definitely continue this next week. So thank you, and thank you to Kofi Hayford for stepping in and producing for us tonight, and to Oliver and the rest of the